When your flash fires, it emits a short and powerful burst of light. This light comes out of the flash head through a lens on the front of the flash unit. You can see that this means our light source is really not much larger than the size of a business card. And we know that a small light source relative to your subject gives you more contrast. I've got some other videos that explain how all of that works, but a lot of contrast gives us the look of harsh lighting, which is something we often try to avoid on our subjects, especially where the main light is concerned. The goal is usually a more natural or pleasing contrast. Generally, we refer to this as soft or diffused light. In order to get that type of light, we need to have a large light source relative to our subject, and it wouldn't hurt to also have some fill light thrown in that mix. And there are different ways to achieve both of these goals. Okay, but even though we're talking about on-camera flash modifiers in this video, I first want to talk about bouncing the light from the flash off the wall, because with a lot of modifiers, we're basically trying to achieve the same thing. We're trying to get the look of softer light by creating a larger light source for our subject. My favorite way to do this is to just point the flash at a large light-colored surface like a wall. And this way the wall becomes the main light for the subject. And since the wall is much larger than what you get from the direct flash source, we get a larger, less contrasty look to our lighting by simply bouncing the light from the flash off the wall and having the subject benefit from that broader light. As a bonus, the light bounces off the other surfaces in the room and comes back in toward the subject from many different angles, and that helps to give us that pleasing fill light. Okay, let's get to the modifiers. Now, one popular type of modifier is a piece of plastic that fits over the flash head. Now, this disperses the light in different directions, and it widens the beam of light that comes out of the flash head. Now, this doesn't actually emit softer light. What it does is help throw the light from the flash around the room, out to the surrounding walls and the ceiling, and this gives the light a chance to bounce back toward the subject from many different directions. This reduces contrast, and that's what gives us the look of softer light. You really need to be in an indoor environment, by the way, for this type of modifier to do much good. Now let's talk about bounce cards. Variations on the basic bounce card can really help to create a larger light source as far as the subject is concerned. All right, here's where the initial light source is, but you can put a bounce card on the flash and you get a much larger light source from the position of the flash. The reflected light off the bounce card is now about 3 or 4 times the size of the flash lens. The added benefit with an open top bounce card like this is that the flash head is also directing a lot of light toward the ceiling, and that light bounces back down and around the room, again reducing contrast. There are a lot of commercial and do-it-yourself versions of diffusers and bounce modifiers out there, but I think the simplest solutions are usually the best solutions. Of course, it doesn't hurt to experiment with other options if you've got the time and budget for that. You can also get softboxes that fit right over your on-camera flash. Now, the idea behind any softbox is to create a larger light source than you get from the flash on its own. Just keep in mind that a softbox directs all of the light forward. So while the light source is now a few times larger than the flash lens, it's still relatively small in relation to a human subject, and the light is only being directed straight ahead. It's not made to spread light around the room, so it really doesn't help create that look of softer light like diffusers and open top bounce cards do. Personally, I stick to using these little soft boxes with small subjects and for close-up work because they work much more like standard soft boxes in those situations. Okay, we've talked about the basic modifiers for on-camera flash. Now, I generally like to just keep things simple and just bounce that light off a wall and ceiling to get an overall pleasing light. In other videos, I'm going to cover other types of flash modifiers, specifically the kind I like to use for off-camera flash setups, which are basically umbrellas and larger softboxes.